you'll see something that says apps. If we click on apps, we can type in Meta, and that will show you Facebook and Instagram. It's an app that you can get installed on Shopify, and they basically do all of the back-end coding for you to insert your pixel. You could manually do this, and for some other platforms that are less common, you may want to manually do this, but I'm going to install, again, with Shopify, you could do this, WooCommerce, you could do this on WordPress, BigCommerce, a lot of the main ones, there is going to be an app that does it very easily. So I'm going to click on install, and then it should show up on the left side. I highly recommend just pinning it. Click the little pin button. That way it's much easier to find in the future. And so I'll say connect account now. This is going to connect to my Facebook account. I will say continue, and just like that, it's connected. So from the Events Manager, it should look something like this. You'll see a blue button that says Connect Data. We are going to click on that. We have some options for what we're actually connecting. So this is going to be a website that we're connecting. If you have like an app or a CRM you want to connect, or messaging, you can totally do that. Obviously, that's a slightly different objective of your ads than what I'm going to be showing. Then we can name this. So this is Karate Island Timeshares. I'm going to deselect that. I don't want the 90-day demo, and I'm going to say create. And this is going to create the new data set. This is then going to be connected through my Shopify. I'll show that in just a second. And we're going to have our pixel connected here. So there's three main ways we could do this. You could set it up with the API gateway. You could set up with a partner integration, which is going to be like Shopify, for example, quite easy to do. Or you could set it up manually where you're copying the code and pasting it into, if you're using something that is less common, you might have to do this. But for most, there's either a nice partner integration or you could use the API gateway. So I'm going to go with the partner integration. We'll say next. We're going to find Shopify. That's what I'm demonstrating here. But just you can see this list like Wix and Squarespace. Like there's pretty much all of the main ones are going to be right here. I'm going to say next. It's going to ask us to go to Shopify and make sure that's connected. I'm going to choose my store. Now, because we already have the Facebook app installed, this is very easy to do. It's going to ask us how much, what our preference is for how much data is being shared. I'm going to go to maximum so we have total control over this. Then we can view details, make sure everything looks good to you, and we can then say save. So we now have Karate Island Timeshares pixel. You can see the ID right there. I'm going to blur it out for this video, of course. And that is going to be connected to our Shopify. And now when things happen on Shopify, it is tracked over on the Events Manager on Facebook. So I'm going to go to next. We can verify the pixel is working correctly. So let's go back and find our domain. So I'm going to go to online store, click on the little eye icon. It'll bring me into a new tab. I don't have like a proper domain on this right now. It's just a little test demo store I'm using, but I'll use this domain. I'm going to paste it in there. We'll send some test traffic, see how it works. There we go, sending some test traffic. I can add to cart. I can do some things, and I can go, let's say check out. Just kind of play around with it a little bit, get some action, some activity that will be tracked. Right now it is testing to see if anything is being tracked there. And it may take several minutes, so we're going to wait a little bit until that turns green and shows us that it's tracking. We'll say confirm, we'll submit for review. All right, once you see active on there, we can go back to this other tab. We'll say next. We're going to copy and paste our website link, so I don't want to do this too fast. On Shopify, click on the little eyeball icon. It'll bring you to your website, and I can copy the link here back to this tab, paste it in. You should have your own URL. You can paste in, of course. We'll send test traffic. We'll send some test traffic. You can click around, just make sure, the pixels, it's just testing to see the pixels on here. And then going back here, it should say active. That should happen fairly quickly. If it doesn't, you might want to go back a step and make sure that you fully completed this and it says active. Make sure the pixel's actually working is what I'm saying. Now we can go to, again, the Events Manager. We're going to say next for the final confirmation. And setup is complete. We're good. Now I can just say finish, and we're pretty much good on this. Now, remember, I said we're going to go back to the Ads Manager. That's where most of this video is going to take place. So on the Ads Manager, again, link number 2 down below, adsmanager.facebook.com. It should look something like this now that we're all set up. So I can now create our first campaign. And remember, we have 3 tiers. Campaigns at the top. Typically, you'll have one campaign for a specific product or a specific store. And so for this one, I'll click on create. I'm going to go to account overview. They need a couple extra details before we can actually start doing this. One is going to be, of course, a payment method so we can run this ad. The second one is connecting to a Facebook business page, again, so you can run an ad on something. So I'm going to look for my page, Karate Island Timeshares. We'll say next. We own that page, so I can say next again. I can agree, and I can claim that page. That way, it's under this business. That's something you may have already done when you made your page or when you made your Meta Business Suite. I'll say done. And back in the ads manager, we now have the email address verified. We have the business page selected. I could skip the payment for now. We can add that later if we wanted to. And we should be ready to actually run the ads. So I'm just going to add the payment method right now. So, all right, so back to the ads manager. We now have everything set up. We have all the additional information. We have our payment set up. We have our page connected. We have our email verified. We're finally ready to actually make the ads here. And so you can see this is the same structure I talked about before. We're going to start off with campaigns, and I'm going to click on create. Of course, make sure, one last thing, you want to make sure that you are connected to the right business right here. If you have multiple, just click on that and make sure it's the right one so the pixel is actually connected since we already did that work. So let's click on create. And this first one, again, we're going to go by auction. We want this to be, there's a lot of different ways you can run ads. If you are looking for leads generated, if you have a new app you're trying to do anything with, awareness, if you're doing maybe political campaigns, I'm going to be optimizing for sales. That's my main objective here with this Shopify store. So I'll say continue. And we're going to have a manual sales campaign. Advantage Plus is like Meta or Facebook's kind of like AI that does a lot of thinking for you. You'll see that term throughout the rest of this video. Generally, I like manual whenever I can, just to have more control. And ultimately, it's going to help you build an intuition for what works and what doesn't work when you have a little bit more of a finger on the pulse here. Although Advantage Plus can do some thinking for you, which can be nice. I'm going to say continue with the manual sales campaign. And you can see on the left side, it's set up that little hierarchy. One campaign, one ad set, one ad. We'll have a bunch more in there in a second, but we have to start off with one of each. So this sales campaign, I'm just going to name it the product. So I'm going to call it Perfect Putt Kit Campaign 1 in case we ever set up another campaign. If we have any special ad categories, you will select them here. That's going to be like real estate or credit or anything like that. I don't have that, just a regular product, so I don't need to declare anything there. We can leave everything else down here the same except the catalog ads. I am not going to be doing that. I will enable the Advantage campaign budget. So this is going to be a CBO, essentially campaign budget optimization, which is going to have one budget for the top and then everything within this, all the different ads, they will be run based on this budget. And it's going to allocate budget according to what is essentially working the best and actually converting the best. So it's a good way to kind of not spend too much money on ads that don't work and ultimately spend more on ads that do work. So again, you're going to choose your budget here for something that you're okay to run for about a month or even longer. Hopefully you can find some good ads within a couple weeks, but really you want to have this, you want to think of this as money that you're investing into finding the right ad. So I'm going to say $50 a day for a month, something that I'm totally fine with doing to get the right ad to eventually scale up after that. Patience is absolutely key right here. We can schedule our budget if we know that, hey, during the day, this is going to convert better, or at night, it's going to convert better, depending on what the product is. I'm going to leave that off. I'm fine with any time period, and Meta can decide that for me. You can do A/B testing here. We will be doing our own testing later. So I'm just going to click on next, and that brings us down to the new sales ad set. So for this one, I'm going to name it. So the ad sets are really going to be focused more so on like the audiences. So for this one, I'm just going to call this ad set 1. And we can choose where the conversion location is. This is going to be on our website. So we will have our pixel. You can see the data set right there is connecting that pixel. We're maximizing the number of conversions. That is our goal, unless you're trying to maximize, link clicks or reach or page views. But for a store, for an online store, it's almost definitely going to be conversions. That's really what your goal is. The conversion event is going to be, let's say we want an actual purchase, but you could have, as you see there, many other things like adding to your cart. For the actual pixel, what is it tracking? Well, if we click on setup conversions, I would recommend just, standard events. If you click on that, you can choose what are you really selling. So e-commerce and retail, that's going to make a lot of sense. If you're doing education or whatever, they might have some different events that are being tracked. But again, this is going to make sense for most of the online stores out there. Purchase, like I said, is what we're really, really trying to do here. And we can say go to test events just to make sure it's actually working. And I'm just going to say done. Scrolling down, we can choose our budget and our schedule. We already have that set at the campaign level, so I'm not going to do a whole lot down here. The audience controls, if you want to change anything, you could have, some restrictions right there. I think the location United States is really all I'm targeting right here. That's the only place I'm shipping at least. And then the audience, the Advantage Plus audience, this is going to essentially try to find the best audience for our ads. Meta already kind of does this anyway, but if you want to, if you just want to say, hey, figure it out, do your own thing, of course, Meta is going to do that. You could switch to original audience options, and if you click on use original, you'll see some options show up here, like If you want to choose the age group or the gender or the languages or, interests and behaviors, you can create all of that. And so that's something that you totally can set up. If you have audiences that are saved from past campaigns, you could also use those right here. And that's going to be a little bit different than the Advantage Plus audience. I don't think it really matters that much which one you're doing. A lot of beginners might find great success with just Advantage Plus audience, unless you really know who you're going for, in which case you might want to select this. Down here, the placements, I think that looks fine. I can see more options. Any other brand safety stuff looks good. And we can say next. Now the third tier is going to be the ad. We will have multiple ads, of course, but this first ad, I'm just going to call a video ad 1. This one, I'm going to use a video. You could use, a carousel of images or, a couple other things like that. So the identity, you want to make sure you choose the right page. You want to choose an Instagram account as well. I didn't connect one on this page, so I don't have one set up, but yours should appear right here if you properly connected a professional Instagram account to your Facebook business page and your Meta Business Suite. Going down here, create ad, we want to manually upload this. I don't recommend the catalog ads. I think, AI is pretty good, but it's not quite there yet. I think it's better to make your own ads and manually upload them. We have several different formats, like I said, a single image or a video, a carousel of, multiple different images that you swipe through, or a collection. I'm going to go with flexible, and down here we can upload the actual ad. So let's add some media. I'm going to say add videos. I have some ads from my TikTok ads tutorial I'm going to use here. I'm just going to click and drag this one over. Generally for meta ads, you don't want them to be this aspect ratio. A lot of them, you probably prefer a square ad, so it shows up better on Facebook if you're actually running it there, or on Instagram as well. A lot of times it will perform better like that, but hey, you know what? This is what I have available. This is what I'm going to do for this video. But right now it is uploading and processing. So I can select it. I can say continue. Now we have our video. We're going to choose our primary text. So you can add your primary text, your headline, your description, and this is something you're going to iterate on and really test some different variations of. You could use ChatGPT to help come up with what the text is, what the best copy is here. Then we can choose the destination. So you want to copy the URL to your actual product. So going back to Shopify, for example, if we were using Shopify, we can go to products. You'll see I should have one product on here. I can select that. I can actually click on that product rather, and we should have a link on the right side. We should have a link on the bottom. So let me just copy and paste that to a new tab, make sure. So I'm just going to paste the product page URL. The display link is going to be order now. You can choose your call to action. Could just be order now, for example. And then double check everything looks good down here. Here you'll see the ad preview in Instagram and in your Facebook feed. And we can then say publish. So now that we have that set up, I want to make a couple copies of this within this ad set here so I can really test out the different ads. So I'm going to click on the 3 dots here, just do a little quick duplicate here. It'll be over here. So we're going to call this video ad 2, video ad 2, and we can change anything you want about this. I would recommend having a slightly different video, maybe a different character. By the way, I have a full video on how I made these ads. That's just like made with AI. So it's not even like, it's not a real person even talking. I mean, it's a real person that's got voiced over by AI. So it's really kind of impressive, I think. But you could film them yourself. Many different ways to make the ads. So for this one, let's just say I'm going to change the copy and we can publish this one. I think you get the idea of how you can go about changing all of these and making different ads. And once you're done, we could just click the little X on the top left and you'll come back to the dashboard. So if we have these both running, right now they're both processing, so they're not actually delivering just yet, but you will eventually see, so let's go back to ads reporting on the left side, and you'll see some metrics about the different ads that we are running. So you'll see an account, you'll see the reach for each of them, which is going to be how many people individually actually got to see the ads. The impressions are how many total views there are. So if some people got shown the ad twice, you'll have 2 impressions and 1 view for them. The frequency is going to be that ratio there. So how often on average is somebody seeing your ad? So are they seeing it like 2 times, 1.5 times? I'd recommend you want to be closer to 1, so you're not, sending the same ad to too many people over and over again and kind of just wasting money. You'll see the amount spent, the attribution setting, and you can customize what this is actually showing as well. So on the right side, you can customize this table. I would recommend include some other metrics like your cost per link click, your cost per click all, or your cost per click all, your cost per 1,000 impressions. I think video views at least 75% would be very valuable. And you can scroll through and see if there's anything else that is relevant to you. maybe anytime there's like an offline application submitted or whatever. If anything else is something that you think could be valuable, of course, select that over here, and that'll show up in your reporting, once those ads actually start running for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And, going back to campaigns here, if we look at those ads, so we'll go down to ads, you'll see these are both going to be running. So if you find that, you're running 4 to 5 different ads, I'd recommend 3 to 5 ads at a time you should be running with this budget. And then every maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days, go back and see which ones are really underperforming, which ones are outperforming, and just turn off the ones that are underperforming and come up with a new variation to put in there. So you're constantly iterating. You want to have, 1 or 2 ads that are your top performing, and then the other 2 or 3 that you're comparing against, just keep changing those out to see if they're able to kind of replace the king of the ads and become your new standard ads. That is going to be like your control group that everything else is trying to beat in terms of especially your return on ad spend. That's your main metric that you're probably going to be caring about. So that's a quick summary of how to set up Facebook or Meta ads in general. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. And if you have any other questions about how to set up like a Facebook business page, an Instagram business page, I have links to those videos down in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in those videos.